Welcome to liveAIwire.com, where we take a calm and practical look at the developments shaping modern AI. In this episode, we explore 3 stories that illustrate how deeply these systems are entering everyday life. You can access every episode early on Patreon, and your support, even at the price of a coffee, really helps keep the podcast running. Let's get underway.
So today we're really looking at 3 threads that, well, they all point to how AI is becoming this sort of invisible arbiter of our lives.
Right. An invisible force.
Exactly. We'll start with the algorithmic shift in our global food system. Then we'll get into the security risks of technology that's designed to be invisible. And finally, we'll touch on some really alarming new cases of psychosis linked to AI interaction.
It's a huge scope, but it all connects. So let's start with what we're all eating. The sources we have here paint a picture of AI as this hidden engine reshaping the entire global food chain.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not just talking about robots in a factory. This is code that's governing everything from, soil moisture all the way up to consumer demand.
That's it, exactly. This is AI moving out of the tech labs and embedding itself into the foundational layers of agriculture. I mean, if you think about traditional farming, it was all about historical data. Weather forecasts.
Kind of an educated guess.
Very educated guess, yes. But now AI supercharges all of that. It integrates real-time satellite imagery, massive data sets from IoT sensors buried in the soil, and complex climate modeling.
So instead of a farmer just saying, it looks like a dry year, the AI can actually pinpoint, down to the square meter, where a field needs more water.
Or where a specific fertilizer will give the best yield. It's ultra-precision farming. It lets them anticipate crop disease much, much earlier than they ever could.
Which means they can streamline how they use scarce resources like water.
Precisely. Water, fertilizer, you name it. And ultimately, it just maximizes the whole efficiency of cultivation. The reports we saw suggest this is already reducing the reliance on, broad-spectrum pesticides and really stabilizing crop output.
And that stability is critical, especially with climate volatility.
Absolutely.
Okay, that makes complete sense on the farm level. But the sources also highlight that the real systemic change kicks in once the food leaves the field.
Yes. Once it enters the supply chain, that's when the AI really takes over logistics.
And the algorithms become the deciding factor.
Completely. Reports we reviewed show that these AI tools are predicting crop yields and then using that data to actively reduce waste before it even happens.
Well, it's proactive, not reactive.
It is. It manages all the complexity of refrigerated transport, rerouting shipments to make sure, say, a batch of avocados arrives at peak ripeness just as it hits the warehouse.
And if something like a third of all food produced is currently wasted, using AI to tighten that loop is an extraordinary benefit.
It is, but I think the most fascinating part of this puzzle is how our behavior as consumers is now fed directly back into that production cycle.
Creating a closed algorithmic loop.
That's the one. Research we looked at explains that every single consumer action, your clicks, your online grocery orders, even the stuff that just sits on the shelf, it all feeds directly back into farm-level demand forecasts.
So consumption isn't a separate event anymore. It's algorithmically tied to planting and harvesting schedules.
Right. If an algorithm sees that demand for a certain type of cabbage is dropping in, say, London, a farmer in Spain might get an adjusted planting schedule for the next season.
That sounds incredibly streamlined. But what are the risks you see baked into that kind of optimization? Because efficiency and resilience, they're not always the same thing.
And that is the core systemic vulnerability. The first risk is a concentration of power. These sophisticated AI tools